guys, welcome back to another episode. First of all, I have been gone for so long. I don't even remember the last time that I uploaded an episode. In my defense, I've been incredibly busy. So much has actually been going on, to be honest. There's just a lot that's been going on, behind closed doors and everything. And then on top of that, schools are coming back and unis are starting again, which is very fitting to the topic of today's episode. Somebody on my Instagram, actually to begin with, I asked on my Instagram story if there are any topics that you want me to go over in my podcast, and somebody said, is university worth it? And I thought this would be an excellent topic to come back to, seeing as unis are starting again. So many people will have a different opinion on this. Some people might say that yes, university is absolutely worth it. You should 100% go for it. But other people will say, actually, no, uni is not worth it. Some people might say it depends. I'm the person that would say it really depends on what you want in the future. There are some careers that you can't get without going to uni and getting a degree. But it doesn't mean that if you don't go to uni, you're not going to be successful. That's absolutely not true. And I feel like a lot of people, especially culture-wise, think that it's not good if you don't go to uni. If you don't go to uni, it's not a bad thing. There are other ways to be successful without going to uni. There isn't a rule that says that in order to be successful, you have to take the route of going to uni. No. I think that it really depends on what you want to do. Some careers specialize in certain areas, and that's why you need to go to university, because uni will help you narrow that path for you, and really get you to where you need to be. But people who go to uni don't always end up being successful. Sorry, I'm doing this in my living room, so it's a little bit noisy outside. But as I was saying, the same way that it's not guaranteed that you're going to be successful after uni, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be successful if you don't go to uni. They both work hand in hand. It really depends on what you want. You can't be a doctor if you haven't gone to university. And for that reason, I would say that if you know what you want, then yeah, absolutely, university will be worth it. I mean, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to go into some sort of science background or career, then, uni is absolutely worth it, because that's what's going to get you to the career that you want to get to. Whereas, if you want to do something completely different, then you don't necessarily have to go to uni. And looking at the worth of uni, based on my experience over the last couple of years, I would say that I've barely gone into uni because of COVID. I've spent more time at my brother's uni than I have at my own. And that's because my uni had strikes, and then I had a 6-week Christmas holiday, and then I had reading week, and then we went into our first lockdown. And then after the first lockdown, we had a few classes online, and then that was it. I was off for summer until October. And then from October, I went into my second year of uni, and I did the entire year at home online, but I was still paying the full price. And for that reason, I would say that actually uni's kind of not worth it. As much as I love uni, I love essays and assignments and everything, because it keeps me busy and it helps me with my anxiety in terms of stopping me from overthinking a lot. But I don't think that uni is worth it, because I'm paying £9,250, but I've hardly gone in. I've done most of my university experience from home, and I don't see why I should be paying that much money if I'm not going in and using the facilities that I'm supposed to be paying for. So for that reason, I would say that no, it's not worth it. But on the other hand, I would say actually uni kind of is worth it, because I was on the netball team and I really enjoyed it. And I was also in a society that my uni had, and it was kind of okay. it could do better, but that's still part of the experience. And then on top of that, like, I would sit in the cafes, the canteen, the library. I made some friends. So for that reason, I would say, yeah, actually, it kind of is worth it, and the course that I'm doing, I'm so incredibly interested in. That's why I feel like it is worth it, because I know I have like a little bit of a rough idea of what I want to do career-wise using my degree. The reason I feel like it's not completely worth it is obviously the experience that I've had, but also a lot of people go to uni, spend thousands to, get a degree, and then they do a career that has nothing to do with everything that they studied for. So many people go in for, engineering degrees or science degrees, and then they can't get a job, and then their degree's kind of gone to waste, and they end up doing a career that has nothing to do with whatever they studied for. And for that reason, I think that uni's only worth it if you know what you're doing. If you're going into a specialized career such as doctor, surgeon, dentist, criminal justice system, anything that's very specific, that's when I think university is worth it. But I also think the worth of the uni depends on your experiences. I've barely gone in, and for that reason, I think that I'm kind of mixed in what I think. Yes, I think uni's worth it because it's going to help me with a career. But at the same time, it's not really worth it. It's not worth the money, I should say instead. It's not worth the money. Why am I paying that much money to not go in? And I understand COVID is out of, is out of uni control, is out of my control. But they're still charging students so much money. Sorry, a van just drove past. But yeah, so the government are still charging us the maximum amount of money, £9,250. I'm studying from home. And it's ridiculous. I'm using my own internet. It's just, my internet isn't even that good. So I'm sitting here struggling to find books on the online library because I can't go in and take out a hard copy of a book. And then on top of that, it's really hard to get in touch with tutors and professors. It's ridiculous. It's so annoying. And for that reason, I would say, nah, it's not worth the money. Uni isn't worth the money. I think a lot of cultures look down on people if they haven't gone to university. And that is so wrong, because you can be... Someone who doesn't go to uni can be just as successful as a university graduate. Some people are just more hands-on. They like more practical work where they're actually physically doing something. Some people aren't as academic, and that's fine. But where cultures, I think they have a massive impact that, oh, you're not going to uni, you're uneducated. I think that's really stupid, because everyone's got different abilities, different understanding level. Like, it's just, no one's the same. And I think I'm someone who loves to do essays and assignments. I enjoy it. But I don't like exams. I like to write the essays, but I also like doing things physically and practically, practical stuff. There might be another person who only likes doing practical stuff, and that's why apprenticeships are better. But doing an apprenticeship, in my opinion, is way better than actually going to university, because you get the hands-on experience. You're more likely to get a job when you finish your course, but also you get paid for it, and the company pay for your tuition fees. Why is that? Why are apprenticeships so looked down upon? I don't get it. They're way better than going to university. People have always said, oh, your 20s are the best years of your life. Your university years are the best years of your life. I wouldn't know that because I've not gone in. So whether university is worth it or not, it really depends on who you're asking. I was talking to one of my best friend's sisters, and she was saying that it was absolutely not worth it, and she didn't enjoy it, and she didn't like it. We actually had quite a good conversation about that. She was saying that she didn't feel like it was worth it. She didn't enjoy it. But she also said that it depends on your experience. We did the same degree, so we were in the same field of, whatever we were studying. And I really enjoy what I'm studying, but she wanted it to be more practical, which it wasn't. And because of COVID, again, it kind of wrecked that practical side of things because you weren't allowed to go out, we were on lockdown. But otherwise, I will always tell people that it depends on what they want, because there's no point in spending so much money and living the rest of your life, the next 30 years of your life, paying back a debt for a degree that you're like not even using. And I always tell people that that's my experience. Based on my experience, I have liked university. I'm not happy that I'm paying so much money for it, but I still like the experience of what I've had so far. I mean, most of the experience that I felt is from my, going to my brother's university, but I will never tell a person that university is completely worth it, because they might go and have a really bad experience and to them it won't be worth it. When I was in sixth form, I had a horrible time. My first year of sixth form, year 12, was the worst year of my life. So much of my life was just not working in my favor. And I to this day, whenever someone says, oh, we're thinking of going to, my old sixth form, I always say no. I say, well, you can go, but just don't do this subject because you will be miserable. That's a guarantee. You will be miserable. So don't do it. But sorry, there's a fan going past. Okay. So with other people, they might have had a really great sixth form experience. And for those of you who don't know, sixth form is years 12 and 13. So they might have a really great sixth form experience. And then they think that, I'm happy for them. They're very lucky. They're very fortunate to have had a really good sixth form experience. But they might go around telling people that, yeah, definitely go to sixth form because, it was great. It was completely worth it. But then someone like me might come along and say, actually, I had a really bad experience and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I would recommend that you guys go to college because you'd get treated a lot better. So it's the same thing with uni. It really depends on your experience. Things that I know people kind of wonder about uni is how easy it is to make friends. Personally, it took me a while. In 2018, it was very hard for me to make friends at college because I had a bad friendship ending when I was leaving the first year of sixth form in year 12. So for that, I kind of closed myself off to everyone. So I went through a complete year where I didn't really have any friends and I wasn't really speaking to anyone. So when I did get to first year of university, it was so hard for me to make friends because I didn't trust anyone, and because of my anxiety, I always feel like my friends don't like me, and that's kind of what stopped me from making friends as quickly as I did. But what I did do was join a sports team, which is the netball team, because I knew in my head, this is literally what my thought process was. I said to myself, join a sports team because then you're kind of forced to make friends because you're all in the same team. And that's what I did, and that's how I made friends. So it was always interesting when you kind of ask someone about whether making friends was easy or not, because it depends. I'm also very introverted and shy. So making friends for me, plus social anxiety, is really, really hard. But I did end up making friends. It just might take a bit of time, but you will make friends. If you are in sixth form, you'll be starting your personal statement if you're thinking about going to university. Now, I was told that your personal statement is only looked at if your predicted grades aren't meeting the requirements to get into uni. One thing that they look at is why you're looking to go to university and study what you're studying. If you are doing, say for example, you're studying business at sixth form, and then you want to do business studies, international business, for example, at university, in your personal statement, you should say, I'm currently studying business at A levels or as a BTech, whichever one you're studying, and I want to pursue this in higher education. And always tell them a little bit about yourself, but never start with, I've always wanted to be this when I was a child, or it's always been my dream, or when I was a child, this is like, don't say stuff like that, but kind of tell them what it is that you aspire to be. If you want to go into international business, then tell them, I want to go into international business and this is how my A-levels are going to help me. If you're doing an A-level which is completely unrelated to what you want to do at university, you can say the skills that you've picked up in that course. For example, I did business in sixth form. That was one of the subjects that I was doing. And I'm doing a social science now in university, and it's completely unrelated. So I couldn't say how business would help me with this social science course. So what I said was, actually doing this business, I did a BTech, doing this business BTech really helped me with organizing my time because the workload is very heavy. It's very assignment based. I was lucky enough to do 100% coursework, which sounds like a nightmare to some of you guys, but to someone who's really bad at exams, I loved the fact that there was no exam for this BTech. So I just picked out the skills that I had, which were, it's made me very organized. It's made me very punctual with my work. I'm able to meet deadlines. I'm able to, basically just saying how that course has helped you better your skill set. And you can use that anyway, but if you are going to study something different to what you've studied in A-level, that's definitely something that you should consider doing. The best and worst things about uni, in my opinion, the best thing is the experience, even though I've had a pretty horrible experience because I've barely gone in. But just the whole environment is so different to sixth form and college. University is this whole new world, and I don't know how to explain it unless you actually go there and experience it yourself. It's so crazy because I would be sitting in my class and there would be someone who's my age, there'd be someone who's in their mid-20s, and there'd be someone who's in their 60s. It's crazy. You could be sitting next to someone retired in your class, and then you look to your other side and then you've got someone who's already graduated and they're getting another degree. It's so crazy, but it's so nice to see, because when you see things like that, you're like, wow, so, there is no age limit for education. Another best thing is the environment, but also the friendship side of things. In uni, it's not a place where, it's not like GCSEs and A-levels where people are still messing about and not taking it seriously. Of course, you're going to find people who don't take uni seriously because they barely turn up. But there are more people who are who take their work seriously, which I like. I don't like people who don't really take their work seriously. And who don't show up to uni, because at the end of the day, we are paying for it, but also it's nice to surround yourself with people who are just like you. Some of the worst things that I didn't like about uni is going to be the amount of money that I'm spending and barely going in, because that kind of just ruins everything else, especially when you're not going in every day. I believe if you're doing a science, sorry, I need to turn this down because this is so loud in my ear. There we go. So I believe if you're doing a science degree, you're in pretty much the whole week, because your course is very heavy, obviously, because you're doing science. So for that reason, some people may not have to come in every day. In my first year, I had to come in 3 times a day. In my second year, it was 3 times, I think. I don't even remember, to be honest, because it was all online. It really depends. I personally think that the worst thing is paying so much money and then barely going in, which is my case now in third year. So for that reason, that's one of the worst things. Another worst thing is when you have to do a group project. That's always the worst, because it's always one or more people who just don't want to pull their weight. And usually the group projects, even though the professors say that it's not going to be graded as a group, it usually is, and that one person can drag down your entire grade. So that's one of the other worst things. But otherwise, I really do like uni. So from as much as I've gone in, I did really enjoy it. Do students tend to work part-time during their studies? Yes, I do. The thing here is that if you're signing up to be a full-time student, that means that you're basically telling the uni that your full-time job is being a student, and therefore if you have another job that you're doing, such as, I don't know, retail for example, you can't miss uni if work call you in to cover a shift, because you've signed a contract with the university to say that you're going to be in when your lessons are on. So for that reason, your uni might not authorize you an absence. Even though most people, they don't even ask, they just kind of don't turn up or they just leave. But students definitely tend to work part-time. Being a student isn't cheap, especially when you're over 18 in the UK, where you have to start paying for travel. When you're over 19, because when you're 18 you can still use a 16 plus Oyster card. But when you're 19, you start paying for travel, and that's why a lot of students work part-time, but also some students, they live in halls of residence, which is also why, because they need to pay their rent. So what they do is they work part-time so that they can have a little bit of money, and then obviously they have some left over to go and have a good time or whatever. But a lot of students do tend to work part-time during their studies. If you are doing a science related course, you may not have the time to work, because most of your weekdays you're going to be in uni. So that's something that you should think about. Will you get homework like in secondary school? Well, your assignments are considered homework, I guess. But most lecturers would advise that you do reading before the lecture so that you know what you're talking about. I know this is going to sound really bad, but I don't do any reading before the lesson. And that's because they want us to read an entire book, which I'm not going to remember what I've read. And then we don't really go over it in class. So what I do is that when I'm writing an assignment and I need a reference for something, that's when I go to the reading list that they've given us, and then I look for whatever it is that I need, because it's just a lot easier on my brain. But in terms of homework, it's usually that you have to do a reading. This is based on my course, by the way. I can't speak for all the courses, but for my courses, usually you need to do this reading and you need to do this assignment. And then during a seminar, it's very rare for this to happen, but a teacher might say, oh, for next lesson, you guys need to bring me this, or you need to write this out, or whatever. But for the most part, I guess the homework is just the assignments and essays that they set. What happens during Freshers Week? Oh my God, I loved Freshers Week. Anna and I were going round and round in circles. I don't know how many times we went round just collecting all the free stuff. It is so nice. If you get a chance to go to Freshers, literally, even if you don't want to go for the freebies. It's worth it. It's unfortunate that I think it was last year didn't get to do a Freshers Fair. I think it was all virtual, which is unfortunate. But if you get to do an in-person Freshers Fair, then go for it. Literally go for it. Even if you're on your own, just go for it. It's really nice. You just walk around collecting all this free stuff. It's so nice. And I do miss it. Let's see. Does it actually rain every day? Well, British weather, it's very unpredictable. I mean, right now when I'm recording this, it's the 7th of September and it's almost 30 degrees. It's September, people. Why is it 30 degrees? I should be wearing jumpers and hoodies and tracksuit bottoms and fluffy socks. Why am I sitting in shorts and a t-shirt right now? It's so unpredictable. But in the winter time, it does get very cold, and it is quite rainy. So if you are an international thinking of studying in the UK, make sure you pack your raincoat and umbrella. Make sure you bring a hoodie, jumpers, scarves, everything that you need to keep warm, because it gets really cold and muggy and just gloomy over here. But our summers are nice. Our summers are nice. Someone's asking about whether they should work through the night on their assignments. Personally, I think it's better to get up early, have breakfast, and then start your work while you've got a fresh mind. It depends on when your peak working mentality, work ethic is. For some people, they have the most energy at nighttime, and that's when they are really motivated to work. I get really exhausted. And something to think about is that if you're working through the night, you need to give yourself time to sleep for your class the next morning. So what I would recommend is you do your work little by little. Try not to leave anything till last minute. It is possible to do like 3,000 words in a night, but do you really want to be under that much extra stress and pressure when you could be sleeping? Do work little by little. If you have to work, if you finish your classes at 2 p.m, go have lunch for about an hour and a half, start your work at 4 5 p.m, and then work until, say, 8 9 o'clock at night. Go have dinner, and then just, if you want to work an extra hour, then you can. Otherwise, have a shower or wind down and just relax. Go home, go back to your dorm room, and just wind down and get your sleep. Because if your brain is tired, you're not going to be able to do your work. So it's up to you whether you want to work at night. I wouldn't recommend it, just because you're going to be exhausted, and then you're kind of stuck in this cycle of just always being mentally exhausted, and you're not going to be able to complete your assignments and essays to the best that you can, because mentally you're just not focused. Let's have a look. Will the work be really difficult compared to A-levels? Now, this one is always a really strange question to answer, only because it depends on what you've studied at A-levels. Most A-levels have an exam with it. If you've done a BTEC, which had majority, like I did BTEC, which was 100% coursework, uni work isn't that much different, because it's literally just the same. It's just doing assignments and essays and reports. Now, in terms of comparing A-level work, the standard at uni is a lot higher. You have to make sure that you reference everything. Even if it's your own idea, you need to find something that backs up your idea. It's a little bit more challenging, and referencing is really difficult at the beginning. I remember in my first year, we did a whole couple of weeks of lessons of just practicing referencing, and I hated it. But now I love it, and I kind of got the hang of how to do it. But I think it really just depends on what you're doing at uni. And I did business at A-level, and now I'm doing something at uni which is completely unrelated to what I studied when I was in sixth form. So for that reason, it was a little bit more challenging for me, because I was going into uni blind to the course that I was studying, because I had no idea what it was going to be about. But I really enjoyed the work, and I think that if you enjoy the course that you're doing, the work isn't going to be much of a problem, because the subject I'm doing is so intriguing and interesting, and I'm so fixated on it and really interested in what it has and what it's about, to the point that I literally I don't think that the work is as challenging as it was when I was in year 12 and year 13. So how will you meet people? You will meet people by you just literally just in your class. If you get put to do a group presentation, that's often a good way to meet people. I didn't force myself, but I was on a sports team. That's a good way. Joining societies is always a good way. And honestly, if you're extroverted, first of all, I'm really jealous of that, because I'm shy. I've got social anxiety, and I'm an introvert. So if you're an extrovert, it's a lot easier for you to go up to someone and be like, hi, and just start a conversation. But you'll meet people. Don't force a friendship. It will come naturally. You'll find your people, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Someone said, should I have a job while in school? It really depends if you can handle it. Some people really struggle with balancing two things at the same time. So if you can balance having your uni life and your assignments and making sure that that's all done on time, as well as going in for your lectures and your seminars, and you can also manage having a job on the side, then 100% go for it. But if you feel like you are spending more time working at your job than you are at uni, then I would recommend that you do either or. You either just stay working, or you have to ask for less hours at your job so that you can spend more time to focus on uni, because at the end of the day you're paying for university. And as much as it's nice to work and get money, get paid for it, it's going to hit you a lot harder if uni decide to kick you out because of poor attendance, because you have to pay for the years that you were attending uni. Now, someone said, is it okay to be homesick? Yes, being homesick is completely normal. You could be homesick even if you are, I'm talking based in the UK, but if you are studying in London but you're coming from Scotland, I don't know why you'd want to study in London if you're in Scotland, because you'll be getting uni for free. But if you're coming from, say, Newcastle or Liverpool, I don't know, Manchester or somewhere up north, or even down south, if you're coming from Plymouth, Devon, and you're coming to study in London, it's completely normal. It's normal. Even though you're in the same country as your family, it's normal because you're away from your family. And that's fine. It's okay to be homesick. The same if you're international. It's going to be difficult, but it will get better. Having friends always helps. Talking to your family all the time, every day, checking in always helps. And if you're able to go home for the weekend, then that's absolutely fantastic. You can go and see your family at the weekend and then go back when the new week begins. But don't think that feeling homesick isn't normal. Okay guys, I'm gonna kind of end this episode here because I feel like I've answered the main questions, but I also don't really know what else to tell you guys about uni. If you have got any questions, feel free to, sorry, I'm stirring my hot chocolate, but feel free to DM me on Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter, wherever it is. I'll be happy to talk to you about uni if you're worried about anything. My advice as a third year student would be, don't stress. There's no point in stressing over something you don't really know yet. Obviously, it's a little bit daunting if you're going into uni for the first time, but once you're there, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. You just gotta put your head up, put your shoulders back, stand up straight, and be confident, and you'll be fine. Honestly, it's not a big deal. And if you're not going to uni and you're still listening to this episode, then thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope I've helped you if you are, debating on whether to go to uni or not. I hope I've helped you answer some questions somehow. But if you aren't planning on going to uni, then you really don't have anything to worry about. You'll be fine. You're not going to die. You're not going to not be successful if you don't go to uni. You'll be okay. As long as you're not wanting to go into a career of being a surgeon or a dentist, you'll be fine. I feel like everyone would want to know that their doctors and dentists and surgeons have all gone to uni before they've actually started to operate on a person. So unless you're going into something that's very specialized, you have nothing to worry about. Okay? All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I'm not going to take too much of your time. So I hope you guys have an incredible morning, night, evening, afternoon, or day, wherever you are in the world. And I hope you guys will join me whenever I next post an episode. Let me know what topics you'd want me to cover next. And I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.